Hello there. This is my presentation on an anonymous nonprofit tutoring organization. The anonymous nonprofit tutoring organization that I did my case study about is based in San Francisco, and they offer free creative writing tutoring workshops, one-on-one tutoring for students from under-resourced school districts. Um, I look specifically at the challenges posed by distance learning this past year. The three challenges that appeared were in creating community, in continuity of instruction, and in meaningful use of virtual time. In creating community, we're all familiar with these panels with all the students talking at once, causing both stress in parents as well as in students. Here we have this image, this really beautiful painting. We can see that a lot of us were stuck in our rooms and looking out of our windows and feeling very isolated. We also see the students, they're literally falling asleep. Something is missing, and that has to do with social interactions and also in community, I think. The next thing is continuity of instruction. There was a big abrasive shock when students had to go home and they didn't know what to expect and teachers didn't know what to expect. And soon students were given technology that they were very unfamiliar with. And there was such a honestly traumatizing experience for parents and students at the very beginning of this and for teachers. Things like teaching how to copy and paste would have been so helpful for students. The last challenge is making virtual time meaningful. A lot of students are so bored and dying of boredom and hate Zoom. All at the same time, there's other students who are really coming out of their shells. So if we think about how historically education systems haven't supported different groups of people and students, perhaps definitely due to like race and country of origin and first language and such, school hasn't been a place of belonging. And so just looking at how we can make virtual time a place where students feel like they belong, especially during such a strange time as COVID, is super important and a challenge. So potential solutions for these challenges include creating community on online digital platforms for communication, such as Discord, which is you make communities on this thing. And here we have this example of a community of school where people can write about study questions. And this is for more older students, but you could do this with younger students too. Since if students were using these online communities during programs in person, they could spring into action in the case that students had to be working from home. Students had an easy way that was familiar for them to communicate with their teachers. It'd be really useful to have something like this set up. They could use it from mobile phones or from computers, depending on what access they have, or they could use it straight from the centers. Next is continuity of instruction. It'd be really nice to have computer labs at the centers. For example, computer labs at the centers would make it so students with their technological skills and digital literacy could develop those more so. And they have the choice, would they rather work in person with a tutor or on their computers where they don't have to really interact with someone. Maybe they feel drained with interactions and they feel more alive and enthusiastic to work via computers with supervision and someone leading it. Lastly is making virtual time more meaningful through things such as life simulators, such as Animal Crossing, which has online elements, which maybe you can interact with friends, as well as personalization of island. One idea I had for this creative writing nonprofit was literally have your students have their writing in their homes and their friends' writings in their islands and homes, making the writing ornament their virtual worlds. And lastly, strange as it is, tutoring relationships will be broken once programs are returned to in-person because a lot of the new tutors, specifically Black tutors that have been recruited intentionally during this time, uh, risk being lost when things return from virtual learning. These connections will be lost unless some action is made to keep tutoring virtual in some capacity. And one idea is to have VR headsets at the centers. Since some of the tutors live in New York City and some of the tutors and the students are in San Francisco, and there's a center in San Francisco as well as centers in New York City, I think that there should be headsets in both places and students should virtually meet. I think that would be amazing and super inspiring and fun. Here's a person wearing a mask as they use VR. And that is all. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been inspiring in some way. Thank you very much.